Alright, hello everybody, Skyrim here, back again with another Diablo Immortal video. What are we going to talk about this time? Well, quite simply, it is the utmost, I believe personally, the most important thing in the game by bar none at this point. I think it even surpasses Resonance. And we're going to talk about how to build that up. All the activities from new player to old. A lot of OGs are going to figure out what I'm talking about here very, very quickly if you haven't already. So, you know, I appreciate you for being here. If you want to stay in and listen to all the details, I appreciate that as well. But we're going to get into it. What am I talking about? We are talking about, in this particular video, secondary stats, and normal gems. Normal gems and all the ways to acquire them as well. So hang in there with me, those of you who are newer and just starting out in the game, because this part here I'm going to start with you, and we'll progress throughout the lifespan of the game, what unlocks for you and what all opens up for you for later, to all the various activities to acquire normal gems. And this is something that must be done on a daily basis. On a daily basis and a weekly basis. There are weekly gems, there's a weekly gem cap, and there's a daily gem, normal gem cap. Okay? Do not sleep on these. These are very, very important. They apply to your secondary stats, and what do your secondary stats do exactly? So we're going to go ahead and start there first. Alright? So if we go to your stats, we go to more attributes, secondary attributes. Right here is the meat and potatoes of it all. Now, before we go any further on this one, when you unlock it, that is, I don't want to forget about this, because this actually does apply to your secondary stats as well. Okay, yeah, the Herodric Sanctum. You will unlock this in West March. At some point or another, you will be given tasks to go and gather these stones and slot them into these spots, and these apply whenever you do your Herodric Sanctum runs on a daily basis as well. This ties in with the normal gems. Oh, actually, it ties in with your secondaries, excuse me. So we're kind of covering all the bases here. We're covering secondaries and mostly normal gems in this case, but this does apply, so do not sleep on this either. Do the daily key run and open up the first free chest for the gemstones, and start building those up, and you will start upgrading these along the way, and these affect your secondaries as well. All right, that's out of the way. I didn't want to cover that too much in this one, but back to your secondary stats here. What do they do, and why are they so important? This is mostly for newer players coming up in the game. And like I said, I am stressing this now because do not sleep on this and do not forget about it. These are paramount. Paramount above, I honestly believe, Resonance even. So, here we go. Armor. This is what armor does. Reduces all damage taken, increases blocked amount. Now in my case, and this will break it down for each one of you individually. So these are all going to be different depending on how far you built these stats up and what difficulty you're running in. Okay, so my armor in this case is only 217 higher than the expected for my level in the current activity and difficulty. And a hidden layer opened. I need to talk about that. Increases your damage reduction for blocking by up to 11%. That seems a little low. I think they can go higher, so I need to raise my armor stat up a little bit more in this case, and this percentage will go up as well from a base reduction of 50%. Okay. So next one. Oh no, hang on a minute. Armor. Armor is affected by the normal gem Aquamarine. Alright? Aquamarine and your Fortitude on your gear. Both of those combined apply to your armor stat. Okay? So Fortitude is key for both armor and armor penetration. But the Aquamarine normal gem is what you're going to be looking for and slotting in to your blue slotted pieces here and your set items for your armor stat. All right, next one. Armor penetration is tied to the sapphire gems. Okay, that's what brings you the sapphire. The armor penetration stat. All right, with that out of the way, go back into here. Armor penetration is very, very important. Ignores some enemy armor and increases your critical hit damage. My armor penetration in this case is 1300 higher than expected level, blah blah blah. Increasing your critical hit damage by 53% from a baseline of double damage. Okay, so I got a few extra percentage on it because of that fact, because it is actually that much higher above the difficulty that I am running in. Okay, so I'm doing good. You want to keep these stats in line with what this is suggesting whenever you're in each difficulty. Okay, this is a benchmark, and a good reason for it too. This helps out a lot to keep this above. You want to keep on top of these stats as much as you can, which is why the acquisition of your normal gems on a daily and weekly basis is very, very, very important. This is probably the most important thing in the game. All right, so we go on to potency. Potency is affected by willpower and citrin. Citrin gem is the potency one. So willpower and citrin are the two things that affect your potency. Compared against enemy resonance to modify the duration of all harmful effects. Your potency is such and such higher than the resistance of monsters of your level and current activity, increasing durations by 31%. When playing against players, now here's the PvP aspect of it. When playing against players, you gain up to 50% increased control duration. So that's what that applies in PvP. And potency does your damage over time effects and what have you, and it amps it up to wild degrees sometimes. This stat alone, however, I don't know how they coded this one into the game, but this one seems way more, playing words here, potent than you would think it to be. It's I don't know how to describe it. You know it, you'll feel it, you see it all the time. The dots do a significant amount of damage at times in this game, and it's pretty crazy for what it is. Okay, so moving on to resistance. Now resistance, flip this. Now this is how much resistance obviously you have against enemy mobs and players in PvP. So compared against enemy potency to modify the duration of all harmful effects on you. Your resistance is blah 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 higher than the potency of monsters, your level, yada yada. Against players, durations are reduced by 35%. Okay, so with my current stat here. Even against monsters in PvE, this is a very important stat you want to have built up too, because the monsters, even with this higher of a number in the resistance for this level, they still can hit you pretty hard with, say, fireball burns or any kind of effects of that nature. It's surprising how hard they can hit you. Okay, so yeah, you want to keep these stats in line as often as you can as you are leveling, as you're progressing in the game. You're going to level very, very fast, especially if you're a newer player. You're going to have that XP boost to the moon, and this will these stats will probably not look that great, but I'm going to start with what you can look out for to start acquiring normal gems as much and as frequently as possible. All right. Resistance stat, one more thing real quick, is affected by willpower again. Willpower stat is what affects resistance along with the topaz. Topaz is your resistance gem. Okay. So there we go. We got that out of the way. Let's move on really quickly to all the ways. Currently right now, if you're a newer player, the only thing that's going to be available for you to getting your weekly gems in is hidden lairs. Fortunately, this one popped up on the map and nobody's gone to it yet. You will see it on your sidebar depending on what zone you're in, if there's one available. Click on it and you will auto path to it. Okay? Okay, so let's see, where's this one? Alright, I know that one. I'm just going to go ahead and show the entrance and what to look out for. Alright, so it's over here. Clear that out of the way. Here it is. That's what it looks like. This is what you will see before entering. You can go with, try to find a party. I go do these solo myself personally, but anyway, here is your weekly gems. Your weekly gems and your weekly gem counter. There's other places to look this up as well. We'll get into that. But these are what you want to get for the week. You can spread this out and do it sparingly so you're not going to burn yourself out and waste up a whole bunch of your time. But you need to get 63 You get 63 bound gems and 63 unbound gems. Now, the unbound ones are the ones you can put on the market if you so choose, if you really, really need the platinum. I would highly suggest against that, but you do what you need to do, okay? I'm not going to, you know, say no, because that's up to your personal choice on that one. But as I've said, secondary stats are the creme de la creme of top of the line when it comes to what's important. I'm going to go ahead and teleport back to town real quick just so I can continue on discussing without being pestered by random mobs. Okay, so if you look in your codex, there is also a gem tracker that never used to be in there for weekly gems, mind you. Weekly gems. We still do not and probably will not ever, which is a pain point to so many of us. From day one, we will probably never, ever, ever, ever get a daily gem, normal gem tracker, ever. And I think at this point they just do it to annoy us. But anyway, nonetheless, in Codex we now have a weekly gem tracker as well, and I will also show you where to find these other activities. Because starting out in the game, you will just have hidden layers available to get normal gems, and daily party gems. Daily party gems, which you need to do every day. This is like a must. Get into parties in any form of content, and you will get random normal gems to drop. Over the course of being in parties, you need to get 12. 12 is the number you were looking for the day. There's no daily gem tracker. You just have to get a piece of scratch paper, get an abacus, set it next to wherever you're at, and do it that way. That's the only way at this point we can track these things. They used to be able to track in the party chats, but then sometimes if you log off and come back in, that completely is wiped out anymore. So that's kind of gone out the window too. So yeah, basically just chicken scratch on paper somewhere and write down and keep track of your 12 gems for the day. Okay, and there's multiple activities that you can do to expedite this process. The one that I prefer the most is terror rifts. Once you unlock them, that is. If you don't have these unlocked, of course, if you're a newer player, you won't have them unlocked for quite a while. So I would say do dungeon parties. Random dungeon parties over and over and over as much as you can. Or get into parties for hidden layers even. Find people that are in your clan or what have you and run them that way. And if you're just starting out and it's hard to find anybody, well, still try the random party finder and do dungeons. And at least get into a group of 4 any way you can. Any way you can. And get your 12 daily gems that way. Alright, so back to the weeklies. At one point, when you level up enough and progress the story and everything else, you will unlock the newest things in Westmarch, and that is Castle Erebon and the Abyssal Verge. That is another way later in the game that you can get your normal gems for the week. Instead of having to go through hidden layers and running all over the place trying to catch them whenever they show up. This way is straight out of Westmarch, right in town. You don't have to go anywhere. You just complete these activities. This is another tracker menu you can see right here as well, so you know where you're at for the week. All right, so there you go. That breaks all that down. Oh boy, again, I cannot stress enough, obviously, as a day one player, normal gems are key at this point. And unfortunately, it also applies to a lot of smurfing that's going on. Smurfing's been going on for a very, very long time when it comes to PvP, but now it's being like overly, excessively exploited to sickening degrees, unnecessarily so and sadly so. But here we are. But yeah, secondary stats are, I'd say, like I said, personally above resonance. So you want to start gathering those as much as you can. This is a daily thing for the 12 normal gems a day, and then your weekly gems per the week. All right. Do not sleep on these. That's 126 normal gems per week. So unbound and bound. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you out. Do not, like I said, do not sleep on these. Definitely do them as frequently as you can. And like I said, I if you unlock Terra Rifts, that's pretty much, I think, the fastest activity, personally, myself, that I do, so that I don't have to waste my time hoping that the normal gems are going to drop and finish. They drop the fastest I've found in Terra Rifts and probably Accursed Towers, but depending on what you have access to. Alright, anyway, until next time, everybody, stay safe out there in the real world on fire. Take care of yourselves as best you can, one day at a time. That's all we can do. It's the best we can do. If you have any questions, of course, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff for the YouTube algorithm. Really will help me out. I do appreciate every single one of you. But put any questions you have down below. If I hopefully covered it, but still nonetheless, comment helps me out too. Look forward to chatting away with you guys in there. So until next time, see you.